Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. You guys have no idea what I had to go through this morning. Holy crap. My entire OBS broke down again. It all broke down. I had to reset all my scenes. My God. This thing's all messed up. Everything's messed up. Everything. What a disaster. The schedule's all messed up. This should be there. You're not gonna have the ticker on the top right today. I got to redo all that. Technology, man. God. Still on time barely, man. I don't know how I'm on time. So here's what I tried to do. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right. Yeah, the mic's a little low. That's probably because I had to redo everything. Can you hear? Right side audio. Yeah. See, this is the disaster. It's all audio properties. I think is it better now? I think it should be better now. Okay. God, man. OBS is better? Okay. OBS is just a disaster sometimes. Yeah, so if you guys saw my video yesterday, I think I forgot to have, we'll review it here. You know, for those that actually come watch the stream, you'll get a better update here. I think I had contract. So here I'll explain what happens for me. So if you guys know the setup tab on TOS, I know you can't really see it right now, but on this right side, top right, you could set up like scenes, right? Or setups. And so I have YouTube set up, right? I have main setup where I trade live and where I trade, every day. I have my live stream. So like I have these different tabs over here. And so I think my YouTube setup does not have contracts changed clicked. And that's what happened. So yeah, I think my video yesterday did not have adjust for contract change, but the levels are pretty much the same, guys. I mean, it's pretty much all the same stuff. So I'll review it here today, just to get a better update with that contract adjusted. The NASDAQ channel is the exact same with or without contract change. The ES is a little bit different, so I'll go ahead and go over that here in the stream today. All right. So, good morning, guys. What a mess today. So here's what I tried to do. I tried to add like a live. Where's my hand? Over here. Where's my hand? My hand right there. I tried to add a like a live sub count and a live like count on the stream, and my OBS every time it would just crash instantly. Crash. And so yeah, I tried to do that, and then every time I would open OBS, it would instantly crash. And so if I didn't delete my entire OBS, I would not have been here on the stream. So I had to delete all of my OBS and redo it all this morning. So good time. Good. Thank God I woke up early this morning. User error. Yes, user error. That's a user error. That's a Desi error right there. All right, guys, so welcome back. Hope you guys are having a good morning. Yesterday, nice day, but still a little bit of not an easy trade by any means yesterday. It was basically a little bit of up, a little bit of down. Again, just not a clean trade. But that's, as we talked about, if you watched my video from yesterday, that's what we're going to continue to see here as the NASDAQ trades pretty much sideways, right? The NASDAQ has traded sideways for about 2 weeks now. And we're going to continue to have a pretty, you're going to have to be very precise in this channel, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult to read, right? It's not like we're getting a nice trend where we can, follow a certain trend on the intraday. It's not an easy trade, and don't let anyone tell you it is, because it's not, right? It's going to take a lot of precision, a lot of understanding of levels, understanding of intraday price action. Um, so, I made a video yesterday for more of the, beginner trader, for someone that's newer out there. If you're an advanced trader, if you know what you're looking at, you can make money in this market. I've done decent this week. I've been able to be green on some days, but by no means did I feel like I had an easy day, right? By no means has the last week been, a day where I'm like, hey, that was a clean trade and I can walk away, and that was just a real clean downside or upside, real clean continuation, and I caught a really nice entry point. They've been grinds. They've been, really precise entries and exits. You have to take profits relatively quick. So just understand that, right? Why is that happening? That's why I made the video yesterday, right? I wanted to make that video, and I wanted to make sure some of you guys out there understand why it's been just a little bit more difficult lately. And that's because of this NASDAQ chart, right? This is the 1 hour chart on the NASDAQ. And you guys can see, right, all we've been doing is trading in this zone. And so in between this zone, you get these random ups, these random downs. You can trade, right? The channel has been valid. So when you hit the highs or hit the lows, right, you get that nice trade within the channel. But for example, yesterday, you sort of just traded in between it, right? Look at this. Look at yesterday. Yesterday was basically just down, back up, basically just right in the middle of the channel. So just understand that, right? That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying you can't make money, you can't trade. Just understand that this is probably not the time to be putting on your largest risk, your biggest trades. Be a little bit more risk adverse. Understand it's probably profit taking relatively quick if you get a certain move. Selling options is really the way to go, right? In this channel. Selling options, taking advantage of theta decay, premium burning, right, is really the move as the market trades sideways. So you just got to understand that as a trader, right? All right, guys. So today we got a little bit of economic data to take a look at. So I'm going to pull up the economic calendar. We got a little bit of data to be watching here. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up right now. Here it is. What's our ad today? NetScout, Guardians of the Connected World, is your enterprise. This is a bad ad. This is bad. This is bad. Is your enterprise. That is not from a company that understands anything about English grammar. I don't know if I'm reading that incorrectly, but is your enterprise? Question mark. Is it? Is your enterprise? Yeah, that's bad. So let's continue. Friday, today, right? U.S. employment report at 8:30. U.S. unemployment rate at 8:30. U.S. hourly wages and hourly wages year over year. That's what we get here at 8:30, right? 9 o'clock, got some Fed presidents. 12 o'clock, Fed president. 12:50, Fed president. And 3 p.m., consumer credit, all right? Non-farm payrolls? Do we have non-farm payrolls? Am I missing that? I don't think non-farm payrolls today. I don't see that here. But yeah, just make sure you know, is your enterprise. That's your economic data today. Employment report, unemployment rate, hourly wages year over year. All right? That is non-farm payrolls? Really? They don't name it that anymore? That's weird. Why would they change that? Why is your enterprise but not me? All right. So let's continue. Back to the schedule. Tesla 255 level, big level to be watching today. A little bit of downside today on Tesla due to them declining or decreasing their prices on the Model 3 and Model Y. This is a very interesting thing that's going on with Tesla. I'd like to spend some time to talk about it, but I don't want to take all your time. I know some of you are get to the charts, Tesla, Nvidia. Where's Nvidia? Where's Tesla? Oh my God. I would love to talk about it a little bit. I'll give you just a 2-minute little talk. We always knew, right? Elon has said, as and people, when Teslas were expensive, right? When Teslas were expensive, everyone said, "Oh, they're too expensive. Why would anyone buy a electric vehicle? They're so expensive, right?" And now, that was always the goal, was to decrease the prices of those cars and to make them more appealable to the masses, right? Make it so that people can afford the electric cars. Make it so that it can be a more affordable option for people that want to switch to electric vehicles, right? So it's like, I think what they're doing, decreasing the prices, is actually very good for volume. Now, of course, the margins take a hit, right? Margins on the cars probably take a little bit of a hit. I can't imagine that Elon and everyone else running that company is decreasing prices without understanding that they're also decreasing cost and keeping a solid margin, right? I can't imagine that they're just coming out here slashing prices of those vehicles if they're not also decreasing the cost of those vehicles. So it's interesting, right? The margins are going to be a huge thing to watch on Tesla moving forward, right? Huge thing. Because if they're decreasing prices, they better be keeping up with their margins on those cars. Unless they're getting money elsewhere, right? Maybe they're making money from high margin areas of their business, such as electric charging, right? I'm sure they make great money on margins on their charging costs. I know they've been probably getting some contracts from other EV manufacturers to use those Tesla chargers. So unless they're supplementing their margins elsewhere, I'd assume that it's costing them less to make those cars. But I think it's great that they're decreasing prices. The stock doesn't love it, right? The stock probably doesn't love that. That's why you're seeing a little bit of downside on the stock this morning because of that price cut. But I think it's great, right? I love my Tesla, and I found one downfall of it. I went to Orlando last weekend, and that's about the distance that you don't want to take an EV vehicle. About 300 miles is about the distance that you really don't. It's not yet as good as you want for that distance, because I had to stop at a charger. The chargers might be full, right? The busy ones, the very fast chargers, are usually very full, right? So you have to sometimes wait for a charger. It's a little bit inconvenient for that distance. Now, for around town, I mean, man, you cannot beat it. And I don't care what anyone says. For around town, if let's say you just drive around town in your town a few miles, you come home, you plug it in, it's fully charged every morning at your house, which is extremely cheap, right? So I pay 7 cents a kilowatt hour in Naples, Florida, and the battery is 70 kilowatts. So to go from empty to full, it's $10 in electricity, right? $10 in electricity, that is dirt cheap. And it's never completely empty, the charge. So I'm spending maybe at most like 50 cents a day to make sure that my car is always fully charged. So if you're just driving short distances and you're just driving around town, you literally cannot beat a Tesla. I don't care what anyone says. It is fantastic. But there are times for trips that you probably still need a gas vehicle, right? So, yeah, I'm a big Tesla guy. I love the car, man. I own it myself. I love it. The only downside, I would say the other downside, is that as they decrease these prices of the vehicles, my car is getting depreciated heavily, right? That's the only other downfall. So as they decrease Model 3 and Model Y car prices, our values, everyone that has a Tesla is flipped equity-wise, right? No one is up or even close to break even on their equity in their Tesla. That's the other big downside, right? I'm flipped like $10,000 on my Tesla. I owe like $10,000 to $15,000 more than what the car is worth. So that's the other thing that sort of sucks, that I didn't really think about. I didn't really think about that when buying it, that they would be decreasing prices, and you can buy a new Model Y Performance for like $50K, which is pretty wild, considering how fast and how fun that car is. So, yeah, all right, I'm done. I'll continue. Let's get right into the charts. We'll skip the schedule because you guys already know I'm just going to read through that. So let's just jump into it. All right. Good talk. To counteract the depreciation. Yeah, I know, right? I need to make money on Tesla options to depreciate or to counteract the depreciation. Hey man, every other car that I bought, I've had positive equity in, but that's probably because I buy sort of more rare cars, so I understand what I'm buying. That one has been the first car that I've been like heavily flipped on. All right, so here we go. Model 3 is cheap as hell, man. You can get a Model 3 for probably less than you can get an Accord or a Civic, honestly. What is a Model 3 now? Let's see. Model 3, including the tax credits and gas savings, they say it's $28,500. If you sort of take that off, because that's a little bit of BS, it's $38,000. $38,000 for a brand new Model 3. And that's probably about the same you're going to pay for like a decent Accord or a decent sedan out there. It's just about the same. So pretty nice. I mean, definitely affordable for most. All right. So NASDAQ, right? We already know what we're looking at. I really don't have an update for you guys. I wish I could tell you that something has changed here, but there has been nothing that's changed. It is still in the exact same channel, right? If we get a push up to 15,060 today, look for the rejections. If we get a drop into 14.6 today, look for the demand, right? And besides that, I'm just going to tell you and give you a fair warning. It is not going to be easy in this area, right? It's not going to be easy in this area. If you sort of move here and then you sort of hold here, then you go back here, then you do this and you do that, and then you go here and then it goes sort of this and then that. Like, it's not going to be anything that you could sort of use a certain level to trade off of and have any type of edge as we just sort of sit here. So I would just be cautious, guys, right? We don't have to take advantage of every single move on this market. And if you don't like anything today, leave it alone, right? Go enjoy your Friday. Go do something else, right? Don't trade this if it's just going to be, this nonsense within this channel. I really don't think you have to get involved. So my size this week has been substantially lowered. The trades that I typically would take are like $10,000, $15,000. I've been taking like $4,000 to $5,000 positions. So I'm sort of cutting it in half, just sort of understanding that this is a tough area, right? So if we can get that pop, maybe this economic data here in about 12 minutes gives us something we can use to sort of trade off of. If we get that pop, maybe the rejection. If we get the drop, look for the support. If maybe we finally get the move outside this channel today, right, then, that could be great if we can finally get the move outside the channel. My assumption, though, is that the NASDAQ is going to trade terribly sideways until CPI and PPI, right? Next week, CPI, next week, PPI. My assumption is the market is waiting for that catalyst. So I'm going to tell the group today, I'm going to try my best today, right? Because I'm a human too, guys, and I say these things. Sometimes I break my rules. It is, part of what I do at times. Everyone's going to, at times, sort of say something and then sort of, intraday, they see something that's interesting and they take a shot at it. I really don't want to get involved in this today. I'm going to try my best, right? Yesterday, I did a good job of sort of staying not too aggressive inside some of this chop. I'm going to try to do the same today. 14.8, I think that's still a level, Kyle. It was a level yesterday, and I still think it's a level here as well. I just didn't have that because I wanted to illustrate the larger channel there. But you definitely have that 14.8 there as well to be monitoring today. So you also have, and this is the other thing that's concerning, right? As I see these SMAs come down, I'm getting a little bit more concerned about whether we can really break out of this, right? Because that's going to be some weight on the top side of this market, right? You got the 50, the 100, the 20 SMA sort of stacking up all right here. That's going to be a tough level to break through, right? That's going to be a real tough level to get through. Especially if you do get through it, it's going to be real tough to trust, right? It's going to be real tough to trust if you break above 15,060 and you start to long it into some of these SMAs. That's going to be sort of hard to trust as well. So not an easy trade, guys, by any means. I would say watch 15,060. I would watch 14,008, and I would watch 14,006. However, I don't think I would trade off 14,008, right? That's why I don't really have it there. I'm not interested in trading 14.8. I'm only interested in trading the extremes today. So if we get an extreme, I'll look for the extreme trade, right? I'll look for that big push and rejection, the big drop in demand, or I'll look for the breaks of the channel. I don't know if I want to sort of try to trade off this 14.8 middle of the channel type level. But you could watch that as well. All right. So not much has changed here. Maybe we'll see something change here on the data that we're about to get in about 10 minutes. Here's the QQQ. The 14.8 middle of the channel level on the Qs is 357, right? We've had that level there, 357. If you delete that middle of the channel, there's your larger channel, right? There's your larger channel right there. Previous double bottom lows around 352. That's your big demand. That's your 14.6, right? And then your 363 is your 15,000, 15,060, right? That's your top of the channel, bottom of the channel, right? And you can see you got 363 supply, 352 demand. And until you hit one of those levels, you really don't have that great of an edge on this market, right? If someone just took 4 trades in the last 2 weeks, right? If the trader that took shorts, right, and shorts, and then the trader that took longs here, that's probably the best. Those are the best edges. Those are the best trades, right? If you took 1,000 trades within some of this chop, probably not as successful as the trader that just waited for those major levels to reject or hold. So I'm trying my best to be that way, right? Of course, like anyone else, there's certain things that pop up intraday that you like to take shots on. But the larger trades that I'm waiting for are up at the supply and the demand lows. And I just think that's the best way to approach this, personally. So wanted to point that out, 363. And then if you guys look above, right, look at this right here. The 20 and the 100 SMA are sitting on top of each other, right? So that is going to be heavy up there. The 20 and 100 SMA are sitting right on top of each other right here. Right? They're matching this morning. And then the 50 is right above there. So going to be heavy up here, right? Going to be heavy up here around 363. ES. All about 4,300 today, guys, on the ES. It's all about 4,300. We can clearly see that. All right? We saw that yesterday. We couldn't get above 4,300 yesterday. You guys can see right here. Both Wednesday and yesterday, we just topped out at 4,300. So if we get stuck under 4,300 again, we should expect weakness. This one's a little bit cleaner, right? The ES maybe can give us a little bit of a 4,300 rejection today. That could be great, right? That could be pretty spicy. I like that idea if we can get it, right? We'll have to see what non-farm payrolls, what all the economic data does. But that could be a nice little 4,300 bear flag breakdown, right? This could be pretty spicy. Something I will watch. If we get something along those lines, a little bit of weakness on the market. Now, if this market does push above 4,300 and we start to turn yesterday's highs and Wednesday's highs into support, then I think you could see that upside, right? I think you could see that upside. So 4,300, right? 200 SMA is right here, something to be paying attention to, right? Being cautious of that 200 SMA right above, which is a potential rejection point. But I think a solid hold over 43 could definitely set something up here, right? We can see 4,300 has been a big previous hold. CHVS, how many times are you going to say the same thing, man? I keep looking at the chat. I keep saying the same thing. It's very distracting. So previous triple bottom lows, right, at that 4,300. And then you guys can see right here, the highs that rejected on Wednesday and Thursday, right? You can see 1, 2, 3, triple bottom, 4,300, triple top. I guess you can say just sort of a day over day rejection at 43. And again this morning, 4,300. All right. So that's what you're watching today, 4,300. If you can get above it, I think things can potentially flip towards that 200 SMA. If you cannot get above it today and you get weakness on this data, this could be an interesting little drop to be watching on ES. All right, so 4,300. Now, to the downside, this is what happened yesterday, right? Yesterday, I think this is sort of the level I'm watching the closest, is this 4,260, right? Because I think that's really where you held around that 4,260. I think that's really the important level to the downside. The downside demand, I believe, is around that 42.60. You guys can see right here yesterday, which held the previous day lows, which also held back here around on Tuesday, right? So if you do trade that bear flag, right, if you do trade that downside today, you really don't want to be too short into this 42.60, right? This is where people get mixed up. This is where people get messed up, right? They'll take that short. They'll take that short for maybe the bear flag breakdown, right? But they're holding their position and they're thinking this is like a bear flag into oblivion, right? That's the problem with the market right now. You might take a short up here and think you're going down to like 200 on the ES, right? ES is going to all-time lows, right? No. The ES probably, maybe it bear flags, but it probably finds another demand bounce at some point here at 42.60. So you need to sort of keep your expectations relatively low, right? If you do catch this 4,300 slip, just make sure you're understanding of the demand that is still below that could still hold up this market, right? So be a profit taker as we continue to sort of trade relatively sideways on this market. You might be able to catch some nice downside, but you have to understand where that downside demand is as well, right? So 42.60, I think, is an important level to watch to the downside, and then this 4,300 on the ES. All right, we'll go over SPY, and then we'll wait, 3 minutes here until data comes out. After that, we'll get over some stocks and continue the live stream. So here's the SPY today, SPY ETF. It's a little bit of a messy area. I think it's around this 425.50, right? You guys can clearly see that. You have this general 425, 425.50. You have a high here, double top high from yesterday, right? So you can clearly see the 425.50, the zone here, give or take, right, a few points. But it's pretty much around this 425 where it gets very heavy on the SPY ETF, right? To the downside, it's this 421.50, right? Demand here, demand from yesterday or from the day prior, demand from Tuesday, right? And then you have that 200 SMA that's sitting below around that 419. So same concept supply, right? Same concept supply. You have this little bear flag, right? If you can get the breakdown off this 425, maybe you can look short towards that 421, right? But you have to understand that there's some downside demand that steps up around that 421.50, right? We can't ignore this 421.50 demand down below. We have that downside off that 425. Let's see if it rejects. If we get over this today, right, your next upside supply is right here, right? Here's your next upside supply. It's up here around that 428.50, right? So pretty clear. Yeah, the ES is pretty clear as well. We do have some clear levels. I definitely agree. ES, you can clearly see. If we go out to let's go out to the 30-minute chart. You can see right here, right? We pretty much just have two channels. Channel 1, channel 2, right? We've talked about this. Channel 1, channel 1. I'm going to call this channel 1, and I'm going to call this channel 2, right? So we just have two channels here. And so right now we're stuck in channel 2, right? If we can get above the channel 2 high, we can probably trade in channel 1, right? If we stay within channel 2, then we're probably going to trade in channel 2. All right, so you're pretty much just trading in these channels, and right now you're stuck at the channel 2 high, right? Channel 2 high, channel 2, Fox News. Yeah, so 4,300 is your channel 2 high. If you can get above that, then you probably trade up between the 4,370 and 4,300, right? So pretty clear. You just sort of have to, monitor the highs and lows of each channel and understand where those levels are. Why did I remove that drawing? Here we go. All right. We got 15 seconds until economic data. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, I understand, Case. Thank you. I think Case did that as a joke. I hope he did. Oh. You know that meme? Leonardo meme? There it is. A little bit of downside. Well, if you were short ES futures on the bear flag, well done. If you were short ES futures on the bear flag, well done. There it is. I can get no rest. We in the house. Let's see what it does here. 42.60. Big level. All right, so let's pull up the data. Data. Live news. Unemployment rate, 3.8 versus 3.7. So pretty much same unemployment rate. Non-farm payrolls, 336 versus 170. Wow. Okay, so jobs market is strong still, right? Jobs market strong, market weak, technically. So jobs market strong, right? 336,000 versus 170. Very clear, right? You can see right there. I know it's probably a little bit small, but yeah, 336 versus 170, and pretty much everything else everything else is as expected. That's the big difference there, right? That's the big difference. 336 versus 170. Guys, you come in here like, yikes, how's the NVIDIA swing? You think I have money in NVIDIA that's going to like destroy my account, right? This is called smart trading, right? This is called knowing the risk that you put on your portfolio, right? So if you go here, if you go to intraday commentary, right? Here we go. Should be no surprises. Let me zoom in on this if I know how to zoom in. How the hell do I zoom in? Should be no surprises if the ES rejects at this 4,300, right? This is where you protect profits and do what's best to protect your portfolio. Manage your positions for long-term protection, not for hopeful short-term gains, right? It's, everyone, that's what everyone loves to do, right? People online, oh my God, you're in NVIDIA swings. Are your account blown up? No, right? I'm not an idiot, right? We don't trade, I don't trade with size that, oh my God, the market's down. I'm not going to be able to trade today because I have no money. So yeah, NVIDIA swing will be a little bit down. Tesla swing a little bit down, right? Lose a little bit of money on that. Can I make that back? Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's just called smart trading. You're not swinging for the fences out here. You understand there's economic data. You protect your portfolio. That's how you do it, right? I know it takes the time. It takes those days of trying to hit the home runs to realize that that's not how you stay alive in this game. So, yep. We still have Qualcomm. Qualcomm swing trade probably will pay for. Actually, you know what? Qualcomm downside swing might actually pay for the NVIDIA and Tesla losses today, so that could be nice. All right, so you're getting some downside, right, on the market due to data. Here's the funny thing, right? This is what you're going to be watching today. Everyone's going to be shorting into a hole today, right? If you start to short down here and this market starts to do something like this, right? I don't know why I'm using arrows, right? But if this market starts to drop like we can see here this morning, right? And we move down into that 14.6 and that thing starts to hold 14.6, you better be careful. Right? You better be careful here. We've seen these types of moves, right? Look at this move. Very aggressive to the downside. Where did it hold? 14.6, right? Very aggressive to the downside here. Big bounce off 14.6. So does this drop this morning mean that we're going to drop through 14.6? Maybe, right? It might. And I'll look for it, right? Because I know that could be a very sexy trade today, right? If we get that drop and that retest rejection of 14.6, this could be a very nice downside day, which I will absolutely be looking for. But I'm also not going to be, right? I'm not going to be unaware of the possible 14.6 channel support that could hold again, right? That's what I would be watching. Same thing with the ES. Where's the ES? So ES, right? We did break the 42.60. Do you want to be short into this low, right? And if we go to the SPY, do you want to be short after that drop into the 200 SMA? So a little bit interesting, a little bit cautious there. I would probably look for, if you want to be short today, I would want to look for the break and retest rejection of yesterday's lows, right? That's probably your cleanest short entry today, guys. Your cleanest short entry today is likely the break and retest of yesterday's lows, So make sure you have yesterday's lows marked out. 42.60, right? As we're doing live analysis here as we get it. So you can see right here, yesterday's lows, right? 42.60 on the ES. If we go over 42.60 on the ES, 42.60 on the ES, right? So if we see this here, if this morning we see a little bounce into 42.60 and start to see rejections, that could be something you watch today, right? If you want to see more downside. If you get back above 42.60 before open, please be careful on the downside, right? If you get back over 42.60 here before open, be careful shorting into previous day lows, right? Be careful shorting into this previous day low if we get above 42.60 by open, right? That's a big if. If we stay below 42.60 by open, look for it to turn into rejections. So as of right now, I think key level to watch, yesterday's lows, right? Yesterday's lows on the ES. NASDAQ yesterday's lows is where? 14.7. Yeah, it's like the same low as Wednesday, right? Right around there. All right, so let's see what happens here at previous day lows on the ES. You're sort of coming right back into it. That would be interesting if that rejected here today. So I'm just going to put a little bit of a zone here at 14.717, the lows of yesterday, because that could be a reaction level, right? Yesterday's lows, watch to see if there's reactions at that level, right? What's SPY doing? So SPY is our 421.50, right? Yesterday's lows. Let's turn that red. So that's what I'm set. As of right now, guys, obviously things are going to change here. A lot of volatility going on. But as of right now, it seems to me, keep that previous day low on your chart, all right? SPY, ES, previous day low. Starting to get a little bit of a reaction there. NASDAQ, right? Right at previous day lows. If you open above this level, be careful shorting back into it, right? Be careful shorting back into previous day lows. If you turn this previous day low into rejections, then you could look for that scalp short, all right? So that's a little update. That's how I'd look at this. Let's continue. Tesla stocks. So Tesla, a little bit of a drop this morning, obviously due to both the economic data and the company-specific data. 1 hour chart on Tesla. I'm still interested in this trade that I have, guys. I'm not going to give up on this idea until it really proves otherwise to me. I'm going to look to see if this previous high area on Tesla tries to maintain, right? I'm going to keep an eye on that. I don't know the exact level yet, right? I don't know if it's around this 251, right? You can see some of those previous highs at 251. I don't know if it's 255. I don't have that exact level yet. I tried to go with the 255. It looks like it's breaking for now. The next level I'm going to watch is around these candle highs, around this 251, 250. If I go to the 5-minute chart, you can see right here, right, this 251 level. You have a little bit of support right here around 251, 251, or previous rejections. And then here from Wednesday, right, you held that 251 and continued higher. Now we can see here today, that's sort of where you're holding on to, 251 in the 50 SMA. So interesting watch. Tesla had a big move, a nice pullback, a little bit aggressive this morning. I would say watch this 251 area on Tesla today, right? And this 50 SMA, this 251, 252. Yeah, it's more like 252, isn't it? 251, 80, 85, 252. You guys can see right here, these highs, these general highs. And then if we zoom in, right, if we zoom in, see this? This is from Wednesday. You can say right here, right, this little 252 area, right here, 252. So that's sort of where you're holding right now. That would be my next level I'm watching. And then I would turn this level red now, though, right? You have to be careful on upside into these previous highs. So if I go to the 15-minute chart and I get a little bit more time here, if you look at that chart right there, you now need to be cautious on upside into that, right? You need to be cautious into that, right? If you get a bounce on Tesla, be cautious of these previous highs rejecting, right? If those previous highs reject, then Tesla could sort of reverse. So what I would look for today on Tesla, 255 to around 252. That would be the zone I'd watch, 255 to 252. 255 rejections, 252 support, and see what we do in that zone, right? NVIDIA, 440 again. So yesterday, if you go to the 5-minute chart, Tim Cook did not sell all of his Apple shares. And if he did, I would be shocked out of my mind if that's... Tim Cook sold all of his Apple shares. Yeah, let's not go there. Okay. NVIDIA. So yesterday, right, if you guys follow me on Twitter, you probably saw this video, or if you're in the Discord, we talked about this long idea yesterday morning. All right, we talked about the potential for NVIDIA to hold the previous triple top highs around that 440, and that is pretty much exactly what we did. So a really nice long at that 440 yesterday on NVIDIA. I took a lot of profits, and I held some overnight. All right, this is where you protect your portfolio and understand how to be risk adverse, right? So I took majority of profits on the upside on NVIDIA yesterday. I said, why not? I'll hold 2 contracts overnight just to see if we could get a little bit of continuation. Now you can see I will most likely be giving back some profits on those 2 contracts, but the reason that it's okay is because you scale out as you get your move to protect your portfolio, right? This is how you trade options and somehow manage risk, because options, if you guys are not aware of this, are one of the most risky assets you can purchase. You have to find a way to manage your risk in some sense. And for me, I will always scale out into my wins, and I'll make sure that if I hold anything overnight, it is with pure profit. And so I'll most likely give back some of those profits today on NVIDIA, but I still will be watching this 440 area, right? 440, 440. And so I'm going to be monitoring what happens at that 440 again today. If NVIDIA breaks below 440, right? If NVIDIA breaks below 440 and turns this into a rejection, if we start to see yesterday's lows turn into rejections, then that could be a very nice short side trade today, right? So definitely something I'd be watching. If you get that NASDAQ to break down, if you get that ES to continue lower, and NVIDIA breaks yesterday's lows, absolutely a downside watch today under 440. All right, so keep that level on watch. This is a big, big zone on NVIDIA. Past your prop firm because your ES level, hey, nice job, man. Just right now on the ES downside, if it was right now, I'll wait for you to answer. But if you just passed it right now on that ES downside, please understand that you just traded futures through a major economic event. If that would have went the other way, you would have been liquidated in milliseconds, okay? So this is something a lot of traders need to understand. I know it's not something that you understand when you first start, right? When you first get into trading. If you just held ES shorts through 8:30 economic data, sure, the technical level worked out, but that is a very low confidence trade, right? That is a very low confidence trade that you need to be very careful of taking. Yes, okay, well, my friend, I'm happy for you, but, that could have very easily went the other way, my friend. So, yeah, I would be very careful continuing to try to trade through economic events you guys know what I'm saying, okay? Let's not build bad habits, right? Let's not build bad habits. Let's not, if we get a big win on FOMC, if we get a big win on jobless claims, if we get a big win on an earnings event, right? A big earnings YOLO, let's not build bad habits out here, please, right? That's not trading, right? That's guessing. And sometimes it works, right? Sometimes you make a big win. So congrats on your win. But I would also like to see you understand, I would also like to see you understand that that's a little dangerous. You played after on the, okay, you played after on the 4260 hold. All right. Yeah, well, look at what's happening right now. What is happening right now on the ES, my friends? What is happening right now on the ES, right? You guys can see right here. 4260. What are we doing there? Interesting. All right. 4260. We just talked about it. It's 14.717. We just talked about it. That's probably going lower. Unless it's a nasty fake out, right? That's pretty clean. We just made that level. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. All right. We were way behind schedule, so we're going speed round here, guys. Apple, Netflix, Microsoft, Google, AMD. Apple, Netflix, Microsoft, AMD. Apple. Okay, Apple's back under 174. That's your watching today. 174. All right? 174 has been a major rejection point. You can see that right here. 174, 174. What is Apple doing right now? If we go to the 5-minute chart, look at what Apple just did. It broke. It retested that 174 zone. It's rejecting. Today, you're watching 174 on Apple. Apple, Microsoft, 315, right? If we zoom out on the 30-minute chart, we can see 315 has been a big demand level. So right there, Microsoft, 315, 315. So today, you're sitting right at 315. If you get a hold here, that's your level to potentially look long off of. If you break under 315, that's your level to look short off of. All right, 315 on Microsoft. Ad. All right, I'll wait a second for the ads. Press the like button. If you have an ad, I'll wait a few seconds. Someone said I was listening to Travis Scott this morning. I saw someone say something about that. Delay ads. I delayed the ads. All right, so Microsoft 315, right? You guys can see that right there. Big level to watch. All right, Microsoft 315. Google, Netflix, AMD. Let's go AMD first because you are on a very clear AMD channel, right? Right there. Look at AMD on that channel. 105 supply, 99.50 demand. I'm not a big fan of it, but I would be looking for the break and retest outside of this channel, right? Or the channel trade. So 105 supply, 99.50 demand, or the break outside of the channel. Right now, I don't really love anything there. I will be honest. But you could look for the break under that 99.50. That could lead to some downside, or look for that long off of it. Netflix, this thing's dead. I took my loss on this thing yesterday. I wanted to see more action off this level. We're not getting it. So I'm leaving Netflix alone. It's under the 200. I took my loss on this one, and I'm moving on, right? Under the 200, it broke under 370. I wanted to see this 200 create some type of an opportunity to the upside, and that is not what we're seeing. So weakness, watch the weakness today under 370, and the 200 SMA could be very interesting there. And finally, Google. This is an interesting one actually today. Here's why. If I go to the hourly chart, Google has been in this sort of trend higher into supply here. Wondering if this breaks, right? Wondering if this breaks. You guys can see right here, previous lows, right? Previous lows, and you can see the 137 area of supply that's potentially, right, starting to step in. You can see these previous lows here. You're sort of grinding higher into this 137 area. If this really does break this channel, right, and we break under 133, I like the downside, right? If we break under 133, I like the downside. That's only if you break under 133, though. So I will be watching this today. If we get continuation to the downside and we break under 133, this could be a nice Google slip. Or Google does a little fake out, and holds 133 again. The key level to watch, though, is 133 on Google. Yeah, Costco Chef is still just sort of sitting there, man. It's still just sitting there at that weekly high. This thing's going to be interesting. I wonder how this plays out. I'm not getting involved, but I'm wondering how that plays out over there. So, guys, top watches today. I think it's just going to be NVIDIA and Tesla for me, guys. Honestly, I think it's just NVIDIA and Tesla for me. NVIDIA under 440, right? Under this previous day low for some downside, or another hold of that low for upside. And then Tesla, sort of this 252 level. If we break under that, potential downside. If we maybe push back into 255, I'll look for that rejection at these previous highs here. Other than that, though, right, if the NASDAQ, yeah, see, this is where things are going to get tough, man, right? So here, I can already tell you what's going to happen today. I already can foresee it, right? So there's going to be some nice short opportunities early morning, right? There's going to be some nice short opportunities early morning, and what's going to happen is those short opportunities are going to present themselves while the NASDAQ is sitting right above 14.6, right? That is going to be the problem today. You are going to see some nice short opportunities today right above 14.6, right? And that's going to be what makes me question my trades today. Because if I take a short here, let's say Tesla is rejecting that rejection point at 255, right? And I see a short opportunity on Tesla, I need to be careful of shorting into this 14.6, right? Because that could be a very short-lived downside that sort of fakes me out. So that would be my way to protect yourself today, guys. I would be very careful shorting into this 14.6 level. We can clearly tell that that's that channel low, right? And I would probably only start to get aggressive here today if you get below that level, right? So be cautious on the early morning short ideas into that 14.6. Right? QQQ crashing. Guys, please. This is not a crash. Okay? Even if this breaks, it's not a crash. A crash is 20%. Okay? That's a crash. Maybe 6-7% on the NASDAQ. This is a crash. Right? A crash is like maybe down to like 13,000 on the NASDAQ. 2,000 points in a day. Okay? This is a little drop. Back into demand. It's not a crash. We're not crashing, all right? Make sure you pay attention to that 14.6 today. If you get under 14.6, then I like the downside. On the ES, wow, what a rejection. Did anyone play this? Congratulations if you did, man. If you guys are futures traders out there and you just caught this 42.60 break and retest, whew, that's a sexy one, man. That is a sexy one. So congrats on that. That's sexy. Next level on the ES is the lows, guys. We're still not below the lows, right? So be careful here. Okay, just be a little bit cautious, right? This is the emotional side of trading that gets people all worked up, right? A little bit of downside in the pre-market. You still got to watch your levels, right? You still got to watch your levels and trade off your levels. So I would watch that previous day low. And I would watch this SPY low around 419 and that 200 SMA, right? And I would look to see rejections off 421.50, right? Or support at this 418, right? And that is exactly what you just saw in the SPY. So if you didn't chase, right, the downside, you just saw a very nice trading opportunity on the retest, right? You don't chase the downside. You wait for the retest opportunity. And that is exactly what presented itself there, right? Break, retest, nice short opportunity, structured trade, right? But you are still below. You're still above that ES low, that SPY low, and you are still above the NASDAQ 14.6, right? So what you need to prepare for yourself today is if you do take an aggressive short entry today and the NASDAQ is above 14.6, you are exposing yourself to that bounce, right? And I'm not saying that it's going to bounce. I'm just letting you know that that's what you need to watch out for, all right? All right, guys. That's all I got today. I hope you enjoyed the live stream. I hope you enjoyed, there goes that ugly black bar on the side. Hope you enjoyed everything provided. Hope you enjoy the content. If you guys could, press that like button for me. We got 1,800 people here. We have 800 likes. If you guys could get to 1,000 likes, that would be very, very kind of you. I'd appreciate that. Yeah. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. If you guys are going to be at the Miami Giants game, hit me up on Instagram. Maybe I'll meet up with you. I'll be there. If you guys want to say hi, I don't know. Maybe I'll meet some of you out there. That's about it, though. Be safe out there today. Watch your key levels on the NASDAQ and ES. This is important. Pay attention to it. Yeah. 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 Yeah, 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 yeah. Give me back my son. Don't know. Hey, it's all right, Margin. It's good karma, man. You got some good karma, Margin. Don't worry. All right, guys. I will see you guys on Monday. Peace out.